Imagine you're Anthony Joshua, 6'6", Olympic gold, former unified champ, and the phone rings. It's Netflix. You want 30 plus million to beat up a YouTuber on global streaming? You'd say no, right? Because AJ said yes, fast. And when you actually look at the reasons why, it really makes sense. Look, there are a lot of people saying scripted, rigged, WWE, AJ's gonna take a dive, cash out, and everyone goes home happy. I don't buy that though. And that's actually scary for Jake, because if this is real and all the signs say that it is, Jake Paul just volunteered to stand in front of one of the hardest punchers of this era for 8 full rounds. This fight makes a lot of sense for Anthony Joshua, but it barely makes sense for Jake Paul. And there's one insane alternate universe scenario where Jake actually wins, but a lot has to go wrong for AJ for that to happen. Welcome to Abner's Counterpunch. All right, let's start with the obvious. If you're Anthony Joshua, this is the dream email to receive. You've already fought the best guys in the world. You've been dropped, knocked out, booed, praised, everything. And now somebody's like, hey, do you want 30 plus million global Netflix exposure, 8 rounds instead of 12, against a guy whose best win is over a retired 58-year-old? If you say no to that, we need to talk about your financial advisor. This whole thing is being billed as a mega event. Reported 9-figure total pot. Joshua rumored to clear over 30 million on his height alone. He's 36, coming off a long layoff, and the heavyweight division has been frozen by politics, Saudi money, and timing issues. So what does he get out of this? A massive payday, a low-risk opponent on paper, a chance to stay active without burning a Fury or Usyk type fight, and Netflix putting his face in front of casual fans worldwide, not just hardcore boxing heads. That's textbook prize fighting, not sport for honor prize fighting. Now, the big conspiracy floating around is, okay, sure, the money makes sense, but it has to be scripted, right? AJ's gonna carry Jake, maybe let it go the distance, shake hands, everybody gets a sequel. And I get what people think that. The matchup on paper feels really absurd. It really does feel like a WWE main event. But with the fight being sanctioned and this fight going on the records, I think Joshua has way too much to lose. Let's quickly touch on the rumor that one of these guys is gonna pull out last minute, because I've seen this everywhere. Jake's scared, AJ's gonna fake an injury, this fight won't happen. Here's the truth. The doubt mostly comes from Jake's side. The Fury cancellations, the Ramen cancellation, obviously the Tank Davis collapse. The fans have PTSD at this point. Add Ryan Garcia straight up saying, I seriously doubt this fight takes place. People are gonna start connecting dots. And this is the part that people forget though. Jake isn't just the fighter, he's also the promoter. Chael Sonnen said it best. Who would Jake Paul even pull out to? Himself? He's dumped millions into pressers, media, the venue. Pulling out destroys his brand way more than losing ever could. And AJ, he has zero incentive to back out unless he specifically gets paid to bail, right? But I mean, if not because of that, why would he? So yeah, the skepticism makes sense, but unless someone breaks a bone, it looks like this fight's happening. Joshua has already talked about wanting massive future fights, including a potential all-time UK mega fight down the line. And his team has openly laughed off any fixed fight rumors. On top of that, anytime people have tried to say Jake's past fights were rigged, lawyers get involved. There have been legal threats, defamation talk, so at least the actions being taken would suggest legitimacy, not fake exhibitions. We'll never know for sure though.
Jake just hired a powerhouse attorney to help him take down people who are claiming that his fights are rigged. As you know, they're not.
And the AJ may take a dive idea, that one might be the worst take of all. If Anthony Joshua ever got caught taking a dive, his legacy would be nuked. The heavyweight mega fights vanish. The bag he can make fighting another top guy in the UK, gone. It probably stands to reason that he will make more money long term by staying legit and dangerous than he ever could by pretending to lose to a YouTuber. That's just reality. Unless he just plans to copy Gervonta and retire shortly after. So while not scripted, it is a controlled situation though, as much as you can anyway. But it's 8 rounds, not 12. It's not like they're throwing him in with Deontay Wilder on 3 days notice, right? And that actually puts AJ in a sneaky tough spot because competitively, aside from the repercussions about what happens after, this one might be the ultimate no-win fight. Here's the trap. If Joshua wipes Jake out in a round or two, everyone shrugs and goes, yeah, you beat a YouTuber, congrats. If Jake somehow survives 8 rounds, people start whispering, is AJ finished? Is his power gone? Did he carry him? And if, God forbid, Jake drops him or makes it messy, the memes will never end and people will scream retirement. Promoters have literally said if AJ looks bad against Jake, he should consider calling it a career. That's the pressure he's under. So for Joshua, the assignment is simple. Show up, get paid, and make this look like a non-competitive execution. Anything less than a violent, decisive knockout is a bad night at the office. But all right, let's flip it, because Jake does deserve respect in this whole situation, and also for us to think he's completely out of his mind. From Jake's side, here's his dream. Beating AJ will be one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. Overnight, he goes from a YouTuber boxer to a guy who just KO'd a former unified heavyweight champ. Now, he will be able to scream for title shots, more Netflix deals, maybe even a Fury fight. This one's lined up to bring even bigger eyeballs than Mike Tyson or what the Tank fight could have. So even if he loses, he cashes out, his name trends, and he keeps his I'll fight anyone aura. He could have stayed in the lane of fighting washed up UFC welterweights forever, but this is either bravery, insanity, or some mix of both. But just because I respect the move though, doesn't mean that I think it makes sense for him to take it at all. You've got real boxing people, not haters, saying this matchup legitimately scares them. Guys talking about excessive risk, brain damage, all that. And I do get it. Getting hit by a true heavyweight puncher is different. You can do all the influencer cards that you want, but when a legit 240 pounder with technique sits down on a right hand, that's the kind of shot that changes people's lives. Jake's naturally a cruiserweight, so I don't know why he keeps insisting in fighting at this weight. Joshua's reputation is that of one of the scariest KO artists of this era. Guys his own size get knocked unconscious. You've got ex-champions that are literally saying things like if AJ has him on the ropes and lets his hands go, it could be his last day on earth. Dramatic? Sure. But it tells you just how serious of a mismatch this is. And if the knockout's bad enough, there's no guarantee Jake would even want to box after this one. Let's go a bit insane for a second. Into the Twilight Zone. Let's pretend Anthony Joshua isn't several levels above Jake. Let's also pretend that he catches a cold. Worst camp of his life, maybe he shows up at like 60%. What does the path to a Jake Paul win actually look like? Because even if we all think the odds are microscopic, there is a pathway. Step 1, Joshua has to underperform. Not slightly off, I'm talking about beyond Andy Ruiz 1 levels of off. Maybe he's under the weather, despite what he says. Maybe he takes Jake lightly. Maybe mentally he's already thinking about the next mega fight and sees this as a light sparring session on Netflix. We've seen it before. When AJ is not switched on, he can look weirdly stiff, hesitant, or panicky once he gets clipped. That's not slander, that's on tape. Step 2, Jake has to fight the smartest fight of his life. He cannot go in there trying to prove that he's a heavyweight by standing and trading early. That's suicide. What he has to do though is steal as much of the Usyk blueprint as his skill set allows. Constantly changing angles, don't be where the right hand is aimed at, touch the body, make AJ reset his feet, then get out. Jake's not Usyk. He doesn't have that footwork or the IQ, but he is smaller than AJ for once, which might actually help him slip under shots and explode up with that overhand right. Step 3, Jake has to survive long enough to even get a chance. The hardest part won't actually be landing the perfect shot. It's going to be staying calm while you're getting hit with the type of power that you've never felt before. And if we're in round 6, 7, or 8, Jake starts believing his own delusion even more. And in that kind of chaos, weird things can happen. You never know. And most importantly, step 4, luck. Maybe a head clash happens and AJ gets cut. Maybe he rolls his ankle, he breaks his hand on Jake's elbow in round 2, And upsets usually need that extra ingredient, some weird, unlucky moment for the favorite that you only appreciate in hindsight. Even with all of that, bad AJ, perfect Jake, lucky break, his chances are still very tiny. Most serious analysts don't even give him a full puncher's chance. They're like, if he makes it to the final bell, I'm already questioning if something weird happened. I think the most likely outcome though is still simple. AJ treats this like a must-win, must-look good fight. He walks Jake down and eventually lands something that ends it violently. But the reason this thing is gonna do crazy numbers is that little voice in the back of everyone's head saying, yeah, but what if? Anyway, did you guys catch that Benavidez versus Yarde fight? Turns out the Mexican monster wasn't slowing down at all, but prepping for a cruiserweight. Click here to see that breakdown and subscribe while you're at it so you don't miss other breakdowns like this, and I'll catch you next time.